So let's get started with our word design that tells all about us. We came up with some ideas for things that tell about us, and now we're going to see how to put this together. Let me switch so you can see my desk. There we go. So I have this big white square piece of paper, and you should have a paper like that. If you don't have that kind of paper, you could do this on whatever paper that you have. That's okay. First, we need to remember how to draw bubble letters, and bubble letters are super easy. There's an easy technique that I taught you when you were younger, but I want to review that just so that we remember, or for anyone who wasn't here then. So I'm just going to go here on this scratch piece of paper that I have, and let's think of something easy that we could write. Like, how about hello? So I'm going to start by printing the letters for hello. Nice and big. You could do all capitals, or you could do capital and lowercase. You can do the style of writing different. So I just want you to watch this part. You don't have to do this right now. I just want you to remember how to do bubble letters. So I did the word hello, and now I'm going to go around each of those letters, following around and never touching the letter like this. So I'm going to follow along and just go around the outside of the letter like that. Now, I can get rid of the lines inside if I want to, so I'm left with just my bubbles. So if we draw bubble letters that way, then we should draw the lines inside really lightly, so when we erase them, we're left with just the bubble letter. You could do bubble letters in different ways. You could make the letter really close. If I do the line really close to the first letter that I made, it's going to make a skinny bubble letter. And if I make the lines really far from the letter that I made, it makes a really fat bubble letter. I could make bubble letters that are squared off like this one, or I could make my ends more rounded like that. So there's lots of different ways that you can make your bubble letters. And that's how now we see the word hello. So let's go now to our good copy of our paper. And we want to start with the word for our name. We want to start with our name right in the middle. We want this to be kind of the center of our drawing and the part that is like the focal point. So I want you to do just your first name in bubble letters, and you could do a shorter version of your first name or nickname or something like that if you want to. But start just like I did on that other paper. We're going to start by printing our letters. So I'm going to do Mr. Frost. So I'm going to do M, R, and then I'm going to do F, R, O, S, T. And you can see I wrote those kind of lightly so that I'll be able to erase them easily. Now I'm going to go around them. I'm using my Sharpie when I do this part, but you should just be doing this in pencil so you can erase if you mess up. And we'll go back later and trace these in Sharpie so that they really pop and stand out. I'm going to use round letters here for Mr. Frost. So instead of doing real squared off corners, I'm going to try to do my letters a little bit more rounded, like balloons. For each letter, I'm just going around the printing that I made. Once you get used to using that technique, it is super easy to make your bubble letters. So now I have Mr. Frost in the center of my paper, and I could take my eraser and erase those lines out of those letters so I just have the nice letters in the end. Like that. Now I want to make a shape around my letters. Now you could do this a couple different ways. You could follow and make a shape that follows right around the shape of your name, or you could fit it into a big circle, or the way Mr. Frost is, I could even almost do like a triangle shape or something like that. I'm going to make my shape just follow along the shape of my name like this. So I left a little bit of space around my name. And then I drew that shape around Mr. Frost. Now I'm going to switch to pencil for this next part. I'm going to leave a little bit of space around that one, and I'm going to draw another line that follows it. So I just made it get a little bigger. Like that. Now around my name, I want to have at least 8 spaces for some of the other words that I came up with to tell about me. So I'm going to take my ruler, or you can freehand it if you want to, but I think using the ruler might make it a little easier. And I'm going to draw some different shaped spaces. So I'll start at my shape and go to the outside of my paper. And just like I did around my Mr. Frost name, I want to make all my lines double. And see, I was doing pencil, so I can erase here to make that connected together. So I'll put one there. In fact, I'm going to go to each of the four corners. That's an easy way to start. Remember, every time you're going to do that double line. Go to this corner. With a double line. And I'll do this corner up here at the top. So how many spaces do I have now? I have my name, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So I need to take each of these 4 spaces and cut them in half. I could do this different ways. Like maybe over here, I'll draw a line, another line that comes across, and have a space up here and a space down here. So let's go this way. But then down here, instead of coming straight down and having really square spaces, I think I'm going to go across so I have longer spaces to write my words. So I'm going to go this way. I got a little too skinny on this end. I want to fix that. It's okay to make a mistake and need to fix it. There we go. Now my lines aren't too close together there. And then let's draw one over here. I think over here I'm going to go this way. I just need one more up here at the top to divide that one. And I think like I did down here, I think I'll go across for this one. Like that. Now before I do any more, I want to trace those lines with my marker so that you can really see them and see all of my spaces. You can see when I was tracing with marker here, I have another piece of paper under my work, so I'm not getting permanent marker on my desk. Make sure when we work with permanent marker that we protect the surface that we're working on, whether we're working at school together or at home. There we go. So now I have my name kind of caught in this web of these 8 spaces. For each of these spaces, I'm going to think of one of my things that I put on my list, my 8 truths and a lie, of my list of all things that tell about me. Things like my favorite color, things I like to eat, music that I like to listen to, places that I like to go, things I like to do. So I'm going to, and you can turn your paper around different ways. Like for this spot over here, if I want to turn my paper sideways to fill this one in, that's okay. Since this is kind of a smaller spot, I'm going to write a shorter word. My favorite color is blue. So in here, I'm going to do blue. And remember, we want to make these words fit the spaces, and we want to make them bubble letters. So we can do this the same way we did with our name, but now I could fill the space. So I could write B, L, U, E. And you see how I made it fit into that space. Now let's turn it into bubble letters. B, L, U, E. We want to make sure that we start with pencil, so if we make a mistake, we can fix it. And if you're not sure how to spell something, make sure you ask me. We don't want to have something on there that's not spelled the right way. So blue is my favorite color. I'm going to write my kids' names on here because that's something that is very important to me. So I'm going to do my son and my daughter. Now, my son's name is Jonah, so I don't need a really big space to fit Jonah. I'm going to put Jonah over here. And Jonah is J-O-N-A. Oh, I'm having a hard time fitting that. See, it's good I'm doing in pencil because I need to make that a little smaller so I can fit all of his letters. I'm going to do this. J-O-N-A-H. That's funny. I stacked up the O and the N. So here we go. I'll do it in bubble letters now. Real skinny bubble letters. J-O-N-A-H. It can be fun to stretch the letters and make them fit those spaces. There's Jonah. And my daughter's name is Penelope. Penelope has a lot of letters in her name, so I need a longer space. I'll put Penelope up here. P-E-N-E-L-O-P-E. Filling that space. And now I'll make those into letters. So you're starting to get the idea of how we're going to fill up this space with all of our different words. Well, I'm going to let you get started on your picture. So you're going to start with your name in the middle with your bubble letters. You're going to draw your lines going around. Make sure all those lines are double lines. And then you could start doing your bubble letter words in your picture. And then later we will add some color to this also once we get them all drawn in there and all traced in marker. All right, get to work. See you soon.